Hello New Zealand, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks very much for joining us. High pressure is firmly in control of our country right now. Light winds, cold nights, big frost. In fact, we saw -6 in some parts of the South Island, but it wasn't quite so frosty for those along the eastern side. You still got a little bit too much of a breeze and a bit too much cloud cover just brushing along the edges there. It was a cold night though for many parts of the country, and we've got another one coming as well because the high is still pretty much over the top of us. But as it starts to slink a little bit more to the east, we get the foggier side of it that starts to form. So we go from frost to fog, and that's more likely towards the end of that high pressure system, but just before the northerlies arrive, and that's the northerlies sitting out at sea. So for Thursday itself, pretty cold to start with, but then a nice day on the way. But once again, the eastern North Island, you're just on the edges, you might have a bit of cloud and maybe even a few showers. On Friday, the start of the nor'easter begins around northern New Zealand. There might be a couple of showers, otherwise dry, and it's getting warmer after the cold week. Friday ends on a mild note for most northerners, and even to some degree some in the south. It may not be a very big jump, but the temperatures should go up at least a degree or two by Friday. Eastern areas might actually be at their coldest by the end of the week. That's finally when your skies clear and finally the winds completely fade away. But it won't last too long, because on Saturday, the rain starts in the north and the nor'easters cover the entire country. It'll be cloudier along eastern areas again, maybe an isolated drizzle patch. You've got high pressure just to the east, so it's not like this is all rapidly going downhill. This is sitting out at sea for the whole long weekend. It is not rushing in, and it's got big areas of dry. Remember, the pale blue only indicates a risk of showers. So a lot of that is just sort of shower risks. The actual rain more on this sort of line here where it gets a bit more solid, and another area around the low itself. So on Saturday, you might start to see showers or a little bit of patchy rain forming in the north. On Sunday, it creeps further down the country. So very light rain or showers or drizzle spells are possible along that eastern side, maybe a couple of showers on the North Island's eastern side. Meanwhile, for northern New Zealand, it's patchy rain and the winds are picking up, becoming a bit blustery now from the northeast. We're going to keep an eye on this. At this stage, it's not in the problematic zone, it's in the more annoying zone because it's a long weekend. But when you've got a low that large and high pressure all around the edges, the squash zone, as the middle of that pushes into the high, can make these winds a bit stronger, and the rain might also become a little more intense. So it does move a bit into the South Island on Sunday, but it still looks like the southern half looks mainly dry. And then we get to Queen's birthday Monday. That low is still deepening just a little bit, but it's barely moved any closer. So again, it's just northern New Zealand facing the wind and the showers, and southerners, at least down on the western side of Southland, may not be too bad. We're probably a little bit too far out to fine tune and lock in exactly where the rain will be, because it's such a big complicated system, but I think you get the idea. Northern areas are more at risk for rain and wind, and the further east and the further south you go, probably the less likely you are to get it. So we'll fine tune that a little bit further over the next couple of days. That's all from me. Our next update will be around lunchtime on Thursday.